It's a beautiful Thursday morning here in Lagos. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. The countdown is on as less than 2 days to the big one. Election campaigns are expected to end midnight today as we count down to the presidential election on Saturday. It's the 6th election since 1999, and many people are looking forward to a successful one to further establish and entrench democracy in this part of the world. 84 million registered voters, but we will have to wait to see how many of them got their PVCs and how many of them will show up on Saturday. They say close to 50% of registered voters do not vote in Nigeria. We're looking forward to see that change in this particular election. Just yesterday, we witnessed the signing of a second peace deal at the International Conference Center, Abuja, featuring incumbent president and, of course, the PDP candidate. Many are saying, is it necessary to sign that deal again, and what implication will it have on the exercise on Saturday? We're going to be exploring that on the show today. INEC says there is no going back, irrespective of the fire accident in Abia, in Plateau and Anambra. Nothing is going to stop this election. As a matter of fact, it says it has replaced over 4,000 PVCs that were burnt in that incident. We're hoping that is true and that indeed, electorate will not be disenfranchised in this particular exercise. Let me introduce my guest to you. I have Otumba Tunji Omoriga, who's the Deputy National Coordinator South of the Buhari Campaign Organization. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
I also have Kunle Odufua, a journalist and public affairs analyst. Help me with the right pronunciation of that name.
Kunle Odufua.
Odufua, thank you very much for coming this morning. All right, so even though the former U.S. president did not make it to that signing of a peace deal, it held, witnessed by the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Patricia Scotland, former head of state, General Abubakar, Bishop Matthew Kuka, as well as other members of the National Peace Committee. Yeah. Can we bank on this second deal as regards having a peaceful round of elections?
Thank you. I think we can. Because when you look at Nigeria, Nigeria is assumed to be the leader, the greatest country in Africa. And whatever happens in Nigeria snowballed into other states, other nations within the continent. It's good to sign a peace accord, fine. But do we need to go to war because we want to go to vote? No. This depends more on the leadership and the followership. If you're going to take 2, 3, 4 hours to vote, and within that period some decide to kill people, killing people for what? I think it's uncalled for.
So we had the...
After 16 years by now, we should have evolved a system of going to elections, casting our votes, and everybody waiting for the results, as long as it is free, fair, and credible. But let it be said, political supporters and sympathizers should not be seen to create trouble where they see their candidates are losing out. That is one very important issue.
It's all right.
But I believe we will have a peaceful election.
You are very optimistic about that.
I'm optimistic about that.
A name that came up yesterday was the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. You know, the PDP candidate had quoted him saying that his political ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian.
That's right.
You recall also the very heroic display of the spirit of sportsmanship in 2015 when he conceded and called the current president and congratulated him. Would you say that we have a good precedent ahead of this exercise?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have a good precedent. Now, if you look at the antecedent of the current president of the Federal Republic, President Muhammadu Buhari, he has contested about 3 times before he became the president the 4th time. And in all of this, he has been very successful, particularly in the northern part of this country. And he has never been beaten by the PDP in the northern part of the country. And in all of this, the man is a Democrat in the sense that he has always been going to court to pursue his mandate legitimately without any act of violence. So I see him as a peaceful man that loves peace, and he loves this country so much that it's not a do-or-die affair. And he has demonstrated that in several fora, that this man believes so much in democracy of this country. The military in him will not play out in this type of thing. He believes in it and is working towards it. He has been doing it several in the past, and this one is not going to be an exception.
The basis of this peace deal is that both parties would accept the outcome of the election. But on the other hand, you also hear them say the umpire has to give to Nigerians a free, fair, and credible election. Do you think that we have come to terms as regards what the credible election will be this Saturday?
My fear lies in the 8 speeches that accompanied some of these campaign rallies, where you begin to call names and all that. It's uncalled for. Sell your program to the people and get yourself assessed by the people. Like he said, yes, Buhari contested the first, the second, the third, the fourth time before he was able to scale through. That itself is a culture. We must by now begin to adopt and accept the culture of accepting defeat and not resorting to any fracas.
The only challenge with accepting defeat, just like I mentioned earlier, is the credibility of an election. So the only reason why most of our elections have ended in court is that the opposition has not been quite pleased with the conduct of that election. My question really is, do we have an understanding, a coherent understanding of what a credible election will be as we count out to this presidential election?
The credibility of an election, one, depends on the umpire. That is INEC itself. INEC itself must be seen to be free, to be fair, in order to have a credible election. And we've always had problem with these card readers. And that is why it is not appropriate at this time to be transferring results electronically, even where telephones don't work. If INEC does right, fine. Let people vote and keep the right distance from the venue. Let the security agencies be on their toes to deal with thugs, not killing them, get them arrested. I think the problem we've had is that we've never had the example of making example with those creating crisis during elections.
We've not been able to prosecute
We've
them.
not been able to prosecute.
Otumba Omorega,
Yes,
all eyes on Nigeria.
That's right.
And your party seemed to have had an issue with the international observers. Festus Keyamo had mentioned the fact that former President Clinton isn't coming as a welcome development. We don't need international community to interfere in our election. But what's the thin line between observing and interfering? Have we had issues in the past to make the APC consider the current exercise by the EU, the UK and America as being an interference? What really is the fair this time?
Well, first and foremost, Nigeria is a sovereign country, and we are capable of handling our issues without any interference from any international.
It doesn't also mean that we're not accountable to other international communities.
Everybody needs each other.
That's right.
But without sounding repulsive in this discussion, the opposition party were honestly hitting the policy, hitting the system up by raising unnecessary alarm that is not necessary. President Muhammadu Buhari has been contesting the election the first, the second, the third time without a rank or nothing. The administration where they begin to, it has even come to the stage where they will tell you that the IG of police, if you cough, they will tell you is doing the bids of APC. APC are progressive democratic party that will not, we are on the seat. They are the one that is coming to take over our job. We have no reason to begin to hit up the politics with unnecessarily. They are the one that were raising unnecessary alarm by calling international community where it's not necessary. I don't think this election is do or die. And I sincerely believe that with the way the whole thing has, if there is anybody that is a Democrat in this country, I stand to be corrected. I think it's President Muhammadu Buhari. So because I can give you one reason. That this is the first time in the history of this country where you will see a ruling party that his own members of his own party were not even featured in some election in this country. It's not possible. You can never see that during the time of PDP. It's not possible.
Are
Buhari
you
will allow the rule of
insinuating
law to take
that
its course.
the judiciary isn't as independent as it should be? I don't see how an incumbent government can tamper with the
No,
position or decision of the Supreme Court.
The point he's trying to make is that for the first time, we have the courts banning the ruling party from contesting in states, and there's no fracas.
Interference.
If this thing had been in a PDP state, the next thing you would have had is that the judiciary took dictates from Aso Rock or whatever.
Let's stick
That
with
is
the
involving our democratic culture.
Let's stick with the international community for a bit. So the EU, the UK, I think the US have reiterated their policy of visa ban for people who are found culpable, causing violence in this particular exercise. There are not many people who are pleased with that. What's your position about that stance?
That problem was, let's be very frank, was created back from this country. You know, at a point, the PDP had to internationalize the whole campaigns, calling on the international community, do this, do that, and all that. We are a sovereign nation. We have our constitution. Fine. They can come and observe, but not dictate to us.
Yes. Has there been any form of dictation, if there's any word like that? As the international community at this point dictated to Nigeria?
If they have not done that, it could start one day. If you look at the rate at which the opposition party has internationalized the coming election, calling on UK, calling on US, as if it is the US that is coming to vote here, or is it the UK that is coming to count our votes.
How important is the sanction or, a good pass mark from the international observers to the credibility of this election? Because recall that in 2015, the whole exercise was adjudged free and fair by even the international community.
Yes.
So wouldn't you say that it is also important that we hear from them as regards how this exercise holds?
Honestly, I must be frank with you that there is nothing wrong with the international community coming to observe the conduct of the election. APC, for instance, as a progressive party, welcomed the international community. We have been very friendly with them. And until tomorrow, nobody is even against the international community. But I think the PDP should try as much as possible not to sound repulsive in shouting at the international community to see as if something has gone wrong. If there is any issues that has really gone wrong, I think I want to, without being prejudiced to anybody, I think the PDP should really try to shift their sword. They have been calling up for unnecessary action to see as if, I think they are trying to lay a foundation for an election not to be credible. So that at the end of the day, when they lose out, they will say, at least at the Sotele, we have said it, that this election is not going to be credible.
And you see, this international community, the interest they are taking in our elections, they should take the same interest in our economic development.
That's right.
Most of the stolen funds are lodged with them.
You don't think elections are at the very core of the nation's democracy?
Elections are at the core of the nation's democracy. That is why it is good for the people to shine their eyes and vote rightly. When people vote rightly, they get what they want. Some will go and vote wrongly. At the end of the day, they'll be shouting marginalization.
Yes.
Failing to realize that it is the number that makes up what you get in an election. I cannot score one and then either asking somebody that scored 10 not to be favored.
That's right.
Your party precisely has been, a little bit not satisfied with the representative of the Commonwealth observers, precisely the former Tanzanian president. You claim that he's an ally with the former president Olusegun Obasanjo and that he's been critical of the incumbent's administration. Do you think that is relevant here?
It's an opinion expressed by somebody. It's not the party opinion. It's an opinion expressed by somebody. And I think it's that everybody is entitled to his own opinion. But when you look at the summary of the whole thing in all, our party is not against foreign observers. Okay. We have been very friendly. It's not against foreign observers.
So the big deal is Saturday. INEC says that it's not going to postpone this election for anything. But on one hand, we are signing a peace deal, the second one for that matter. On the other hand, the main parties seem to be at each other's neck. The PDP is accusing the APC of being responsible for the fire incident at the INEC offices. The APC, on the other hand, also has a counter-allegation. Unfortunately, none of them seem to have brought evidences to the security agencies. Where does that leave us?
That is an irresponsible allegation.
On both parties?
No.
On the part of the PDP.
Both parties have been given allegations.
Anambra is under Abuja. The two states where these incidents took place were not APC states. One is Abuja, the other is PDP. How would APC, that is fighting to win an election there, if you are a hunter, you want to hunt down a gazelle, you won't throw a stone at it before firing your gun. You miss it.
The challenge with that logic is that why would I burn down my stronghold? The other party would say that that is exactly why the APC is culpable, because that is not their stronghold.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why for free. I won't charge you for that. You see, what they are trying to do, Anambra, for instance, happened to be PDP originally. Then it later turned to Abuja, and it's still Abuja to the best of my knowledge. It is on record that the Anambra governor is not well between him and the PDP caucus. And you can also imagine what happened between the Anambra governor and the Ohaneze Ndigbo. There was an infraction between the two of them in which the Anambra governor tried to distance himself from them. So their ploy is this. They are of the opinion that Anambra governor is having a soft spot for APC. Therefore, the card reader that is going to be used might prevent them from doing their bids in terms of rigging. Tell me how the fire will get into the container, an iron container, inside a place that is well secured and manned by these people. I think that fault, we should point the direction towards the side of the PDP.
And then take a look at Obiano. Obiano was accused of favoring Buhari.
Yes.
And the man said, look at the indices, look at the performance. For the first time where they are having their roads being repaired and resuscitated. The second Niger bridge, this man has embarked upon it. He took the Obi of Onitsha and his traditional council to go there and verify that this man has helped them in the rice revolution. That when he had his own election, his security details were withdrawn. He ran to the president restored them, that he does not see anything wrong.
But Mr. Dufo, beyond all the politics,
Yes.
shrouding this particular incident, the bottom line is that it appears like a crime has been committed. Earlier you mentioned that the challenge with our electoral process is that those who break the law have not been prosecuted. Shouldn't we be asking security operatives what they're doing right now? The first incident was in Abia and then Plateau. Right after that, the acting IGP mentioned that it was going to tighten security around INEC facilities, but then another one happened in Anambra State.
In fact, tightening security should not be by words of mouth alone. There should be a rapid response system to look at a crime and see those behind it and get them prosecuted. It seems we are in a society whereby when somebody does something, nobody wants to speak. The criminal gets away and begins to plan another one. That is why some are saying that we need an electoral court to deal essentially with electoral crimes, cutting away of ballot boxes, stabbing people at polling stations, all for what? We have come a long way. And when you look at the campaign processes, the PDP had this sing-song from day one, rigging, 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 rigging. Who is talking of rigging? And Buhari keeps telling the whole world that, look, if you believe I am fit to continue as your president, vote me.
But the PDP would tell you that they have a precedent. All of the staggered elections we had last year have been contested in court because of allegations of one form of malpractice or the other. INEC, established the fact that vote buying skyrocketed to another dimension in the Osun and Ekiti elections. So wouldn't you say that the PDP has a reason to cry foul now?
The Osun election is another thing entirely. What foul is the PDP crying? When within its own rank and file, somebody came with $10,000, $5,000 and bought out all the other candidates.
Does that justify what transpired last year?
Where?
I'm saying that, are you saying that because something happened in this party,
that was a plain case of vote buying. The Osun election, nobody reported money. They must have bought votes, but it was not as pronounced as what we had there.
Can I assist you here? Osun and Ekiti election, I want to give you a practical and physical testimony of what happened, because I was there. I was there in Osun, and I happened to be there in Ekiti as well. People accused one another of vote buying.
Were those elections free and fair?
I can tell you for free that that election was free and fair. I can tell you for free. What happened in Osun, for instance?
The problem is that that's just a singular opinion.
Yes, it's my opinion,
and that's the beauty of
this
democracy.
is an eyewitness opinion, because I was there.
And anyway, the matter is still sub judice.
It's all right. So let us move on from there. And since you brought that up, it's a very smart one to move to. A totally different topic right now. INEC says it's not going to postpone this election.
Good.
In 2015, there was a meeting with security operatives because of the challenges in Northeast. That election was postponed. Would you say that these 3 fire incidences are not reason enough to consider the postponement of this election?
I would say no. And I have my reason for saying no. INEC has been preparing for this election for the past almost 3 to 4 years now. Right from the last time they finished the last election that brought in the president. INEC, the timetable, the following month, the timetable for this election was rolled out. And the fire incident, and if you listen to INEC, they were prepared for it because they knew that an average Nigerian is fraudulent in nature, particularly when you want to grab things at all costs. They can go to any length to get what they want, as long as even without thinking the implication to other people. So INEC has prepared for this. And when the incident happened, because those things have been worked, calibrated in such a way that it will only reflect Anambra. And this card reader we're talking about, according to INEC, is not on the display, it's not in the market where you can buy it. They were really calibrated and designed for Nigerian market.
And again, it exposed the other side of INEC. So INEC did not provide sufficient security, because one would expect where you have card readers and other electoral materials to be well secured and be well guided by security men.
Will INEC provide security for itself? I mean, according to the Amendment Electoral Act of 2015, security agencies have their own responsibility.
To guide this equipment.
But after, what I'm saying, I said that earlier, that after the 2 incidences, the acting IGP even had a press release that it was going to tighten security, and it happened yet again.
It should have been tightened from the word go.
Would you blame INEC for that?
I think they are culpable too. Like one of our past leaders rightly said, that if you put a barn of yam somewhere and you tie a goat near it, the goat will eat it up if you don't take your yam away. If those things had been well protected, it would be difficult for anybody to come and commit any arson. So INEC should make sure that its own security and members of the security agencies should be well mobilized to look at these things. Because, for example, if it had gone just like that all over the country, will the elections hold?
So INEC is collaborating with the Air Force, and it says that it will fly some of its sensitive materials in this election, the use of gunboats to protect boat movement of materials and its officers prior to the presidential election. How effective do you see these help the safety of these materials as we count down to Saturday?
You see, when APC came up with the mantra of change begins with you, is what is reflecting most of the things that is happening now. The fire incident, for instance, I will come to that, your questions. The fire incident at Anambra, for instance, I was expecting that somebody will come to vandalize and break the iron. It was an iron container. So how the fire got into the container is a mystery till tomorrow. So there are people within that could be, their conscience could be bought over. So that's why they said the change begins with you. A lot of Nigerians are not committed to this cause. And I think we have to change our style. It's not business as usual. Having said that, the use of the Air Force helicopter or whatever and the gunboat to protect and guide delivery of materials, yes, it will be effective, particularly in the riverine area, which happen to be my own area. I'm from there and I know what operates in the riverine area. They need the naval boats to carry most of this material to the area so that the thing could reach there without any rancor. And I don't think the people, you see, it's going to be very difficult for anybody who is planning to rig this time around. And that is why what happened in Anambra still beat me till tomorrow, because what the people are really looking for is to make INEC handicapped so that there could be free voting without card reader. So that they can perfect their rigging and all the rest of it. And we have said it time without number that card reader must be used. Card reader must be used, and that is what APC believes in. So using the gunboat to take those things to the locations where they are going to be needed is very, very vital, because this thing could be hijacked on the way.
Gentlemen, let's take a break here. When we return, we'll open the phone lines. Then you can also be a part of the program. We're talking issues ahead of the presidential election this Saturday. Stay with us. Thanks for joining us again. All eyes on Nigeria. 84 million registered voters, presidential election this Saturday. Of course, it's time out on collection of PVCs, and we're waiting to find out how many eligible electorate got their PVCs before this particular election. I have Motuba Tunji Omoriga. He's the Deputy National Coordinator, South Buhari Campaign Organization. Thank you for staying the course of the show. Mr. Kole Dufua, journalist and public affairs analyst. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking about INEC and its preparation ahead of this particular election. But let's begin to also look at the importance of having a trusted security structure. The acting IGP says that policemen will not carry arms at the polling stations. The military officers are saying that if you are not on duty and you want to vote, you must not wear your uniform. And we've also seen how this have played out in previous election, the culpability of security officers, in electoral malpractice. Are you also optimistic that these issues are being fine-tuned ahead of Saturday's election?
Yeah, let's hope that they will live up to their words. At least the elections in Anambra was very, very peaceful. Elections were held all over the place. The presidency did not interfere. But we have a culture of suspicion. The guidelines have been laid out for the security agencies. It is for them to help Nigeria and help the system. Because head or tail, whatever they do, they might end up being labeled as acting on behalf of the government. And I am sure the government will not ask them not to do their job. And Buhari himself has always said it. If you vote me out, I will go. But if you still believe in me, vote for me. That he will not influence anybody. And for the first time, we are having an election where there is no money in circulation.
That's right.
We know what happened 4 years ago.
Yes.
We were throwing dollars all over the place. At the end of the day, we ended up not having anything. But let us thank God that that was part of what sent us into recession. And we got out of it. Look at what is happening in Venezuela today. Venezuela is still reeling under that. Let our security men put patriotism above any.
October, in 2014, recall
Yes.
the Ekiti election, your party, alleged that some of its leaders were arrested about the night before that particular election. And then fast forward to 2018, a similar incident happened in Ekiti where the incumbent governor at that time also alleged that police officers tear gassed him, that some of its foot soldiers and some of its men have been arrested. What do you expect of security operatives at this time, especially now that the PDP candidate even mentioned yesterday that security operatives should not arrest politicians in this election?
You see, one thing that is clear and which is very fundamental is this. If an offense is committed, the security officers are bound to do their job no matter what time that offense is committed. I've seen people being arrested on Christmas Day. Why didn't they say it's on Christmas Day? Allow the man to go first. We can come back after Boxing Day to come and arrest him, or on New Year Day. An offense should be held at the point that the crime is committed. That is my position.
Did the APC members that were arrested in Ekiti in 2014, did they commit offenses? Was that why they were arrested a night before that election?
Not only in Ekiti, even was it in Osun or thereabout? I remember El-Rufai was arrested in his hotel in Anambra for wandering. They arrested him for wandering. PDP.
What was it doing in Anambra, for crying out loud?
Is it Anambra? I think it's Anambra or Osun.
It was in Anambra. It was in Anambra.
Where he was arrested for wandering in his hotel room. So the way they use power, you can't see that one under APC administration. Sometimes when the president does some certain things, even me as an ordinary citizen, I felt terribly bad that why would the president allow this type of thing to go on? Like, for instance, what happened in Ogun State. Under normal setting of the former president, Amoson would have been impeached right in the nearest hotel. Right there, he will carry all the members of the house and the man will be impeached. But this government allowed it to go, let the rule of law.
The president himself told the people that day that they can vote whomever they wish. So the body language of the president at that time is almost in consonance with that of the state governor.
That is the extent, that is the way democracy should be played. You want to vote your conscience. It's not trying to impose anybody on anybody. Already we all knew where we are going. It's not the campaign that you are doing tomorrow or today that will convince me on whom to vote for. If I know I want progress for myself, I want free education for my children, I want good roads for my people, I want stabilization of the economic policy and all the rest of it, of course I know who to vote for.
And when you look at it, for the first time, Nigerians are fully mobilized, irrespective of whatever infrastructure anybody is distributing. Nigerians now know what they want, and I'm sure they will go out and get it. So it's not a matter of blackmailing or calling on the international. The international community will only come and see. Theirs is to watch and write their reports.
Let me hold you for a minute to take this call from Abuja. Good morning, Augustine.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Glad to have you come. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you, sir. Please, I want to make an input on this program. Since over the years, since this program come to effect in Nigeria, we have been watching this program and all Nigerians will love it. But there's a tune that you people have taken now. We have seen that since you people will always bring two APC members, we want to bring opposition to counter the lies they are telling us here. But all they are saying there is lies. You see? You people to bring an opposition to counter them. Don't just go and bring two APC members.
Augustine, I was hoping you were going to play the role of the opposition, and you have the floor, so make very good use of it.
No. See, what they are saying, they are wrong.
Like
they are
what?
very wrong with what they are saying.
What precisely is wrong?
What they are saying, you know, you two know that they are saying they're not telling that Nigerian the truth. What is going on? An opposition to counter what they are saying.
It's all right.
What do you know that they're not telling the truth?
I think you made your point clear, Augustine. Thank you very much for your observation.
To correct an impression.
Yes.
Odufunwa here is not a politician.
He's a journalist and public affairs analyst, but perhaps
If you say they are not saying
Augustine
the
is
truth,
making
what
reference
is wrong?
to...
What is wrong in all we've been saying?
Let's quickly touch on some very important issues here as we count down to Saturday's election. Now, INEC seems to have a huge task in its hand. There are 91 parties, right?
Yeah. And
about 71 or 73 of them who have candidates for this election. So we're really looking at a very long ballot paper. I, for one, am concerned about how long it will take to count these results. But INEC says that the process of collating, that he has now decided one collation officer per registration area cannot do the job. So it's going to have 2 collation officers for 1 registration area. But how soon do you see us have these results come in? And don't you see a very cumbersome process given the huge number of parties on the ballot?
I don't see any problem. Most of these candidates are just contesting just for them to be called the presidential
will all be
candidate.
Counted.
They will be counted depending on the votes they have.
That's what I'm saying.
Most of them will end up not having
it doesn't matter
1,000
whether
votes across the
party
country.
has
votes or not. It is good for our democratic development. Let them contest.
I'm saying that have we been able to fine-tune the process? Because we have monitored elections in this country. Right. They will start counting from letter A to letter Z. It doesn't matter what figures are attached to
that is left to
party.
each party to educate its people.
You see, Mr. Newfemi, it won't be a problem. Why is it? It's a question of addition, and subtraction where votes are voids.
That's right.
You see, it doesn't, unless you only find this in difficulties in doing this when you are having a hidden agenda to do one thing or the other. But I think with the process and the caliber of people that are handling it, I'm sure that's going to follow the old pattern of using the vice chancellors and professors to handle all this.
Let me take this call very quickly from Surulere. Good morning today.
Good morning.
Please go ahead with the contribution.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to the guest.
Good morning.
Okay. First thing, what I noticed is that the public analyst is actually contributing he's talking like an APC member. Then to Otumba, you cannot tell me that, you cannot say you tell us for free that the Osun election was free and fair. Please let us be straightforward. If Nigeria is going to be good, we are all going to be we all have to be very honest and straightforward with ourselves. And lastly, also to the public analyst. Sir, as a public analyst, are you telling me that in the last 4 years, there's nothing good about the PDP you can say? I'm not a PDP member, but I have to be straight with you. You have acted not like a public analyst, but an APC member. Thank you very much.
It's all right. I don't know if you want to quickly respond to Tunde's submission.
Yes. First, the Osun elections, at a point when there was we know it that it's in the Electoral Act that if the votes in doubt, the one that has not been counted, is more than the council votes, the election will be rendered inconclusive and a rerun will be carried out there. Except I wait for people to come and tell me now that what happened in Ife, where Omisho decided to deflect from PDP, SDP to APC, and that was the magic that makes the election APC to win that election. So I wouldn't see anything that is wrong in that in politics. And they are always using that as a yardstick as if they are competing very effectively with APC in that. If you see, APC has been very, very a party that is accommodating. Ordinarily, most of these things will not happen during Obasanjo.
Now, he did ask a question. If we have not seen anything good in what PDP has done in the last 4 years, the PDP had succeeded in dragging back this country through the National Assembly in the last 4 years. And thank God we have a tolerant presidency. We knew the number of Senate presidents, speakers, and party chairmen that went under the hammer, under Obasanjo's tenure.
Let me hold you for a minute.
Let truth be told.
Let me hold you for a minute.
As it is.
Surulere appears to be alive on this show. We have another caller. Tonia, good morning.
Good morning, Ifemi.
We're glad to have you call. Go ahead with a contribution.
Please, I want to equally say that the public affairs analyst there is a member of the APC. Please, for the purpose of this show, and for some of us who are added watchers of this show, please bring a balance to the show each time you want to bring this sort of discussion. I will want to correct the APC man there, the other man, that Osun election was not free and fair. And don't forget, the matter is still in court. So if you say the election was free and fair, you can't say you are telling us that for a free. If you say the election was free and fair, why would the president during his campaign go to Osun to say that they used remote control? In your sister program, even international callers called in to say that this issue is still in court and that the president went to Osun in the place of the palace of Osun to say that they used remote control.
It's all right. Tonia.
All your guests there not to be partisan.
I think that
analyst, he should not be partisan.
Tonia,
what is the partisanship there?
At least he should say one thing that PDP has done good, not always capitalizing on the bad part.
Tonia, I think you made your point very clearly there. Thank you very much for your contribution. And that's why the phone lines are open, so that you can bring in your balance to it. So I have a public affairs analyst and a journalist who I believe also has a right to his own political inclination or ideology. Now, if this show was supposed to go one-sided, the phones would not be open. So the phones are open for you to, bring your own format of balance to whatever conversation we're having here. So, and just present your facts and let us know exactly what your position is on the discussion. I think I'm enjoying this. But
let me just correct that impression about the president saying we use remote control. I think there is a misconception here. The remote control the president might be talking about in this regard is that when there was a stalemate, we couldn't move forward. There was move from the PDP because the bride at that time was Chief Oyiyiola Omishore. There was move by the Senate President to Ife to meet Omishore and discuss with him because he's the game changer at that time. And there was also move from the APC to move to Omishore and do same. So at that point, everybody was trying to lobby Omishore to ensure that, because wherever Omishore swing to at that point, that is the person that's going to win. So the remote control they were talking about, that we were able to reach Omishore and convince him on what our program is, and the man decided to play our own game. That is the remote control they are talking about.
Let's talk about
remote control again are they talking
Let's
about?
talk about voter education ahead the Saturday election. We talked about the possibility of having a very long ballot paper, and then we've heard people say, "Don't use." Okay, let's take this call very quickly before I come to you. Good morning, Ifeanyi.
Good morning, Nathan.
Glad to have you call. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello?
Go ahead, Ifeanyi.
Yeah, good morning to your guests as well.
Good morning.
You can see the three colors already. They are oppositions already. You can see that already. Because what I will urge you to do, or advise you to do, is since you have their numbers and you need to invite them over, so that they will not put their own side of the story.
Thank you.
Not to cast a passion on most especially Tonia or the other man from Abuja, Austin. So if they are not standing as opposition, let them come and give us their own side of the story. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you, Ifeanyi.
Good morning, Ifeanyi. So we're looking at a very long ballot paper. And then people are saying you might have to use an index finger. How much of voter education would you say have gone into this process?
I believe the parties are trying on their own to educate voters. And part of it is that you don't use the thumb, but you use the second finger. And that is why we have quite a lot of grassroots effort going on, even on, including that on the part of the vice president. Nobody will be scared of PDP members saying one thing is one-sided, that what has PDP done in the last 4 years? This country has been under the throes of the PDP. If the funds the PDP gathered in 16 years were used for this country, we will not be where we are today.
We have another caller now.
Let them come up with what they want us to say, okay, the PDP did this.
We have another caller now from Mina. Good morning, Shego.
Good morning, Nifemi.
Please go ahead with the contribution.
How are you doing?
Terrific.
My greetings to the young men in the studio with you.
They must really be looking young on your TV screen. They look old to me, really.
Okay. That's good. I want to talk about the peace agreement that they've just signed.
All right.
It's a nice thing, signing the peace agreement. But how will this thing be in reality? When we look at this country, a lot of people doesn't say the truth. Hello, are you with me?
Yes, we are.
A lot of people, even the last callers, they are not saying the truth. They are all Nigerians. We know what happened during PDP era, from Obasanjo to this time. And the difference is the case now. You see, Buhari never imposed anybody or any people on anybody. He gave people free and fair mind to choose whosoever they want to choose, which is a nice thing. And Buhari is a lovely and peaceful man. Most of the election, the past election, you see, after the election, the next thing Buhari do is to go to court.
That's right.
Then Buhari can mobilize the Northerners to set this country ablaze. But he did not do that because he loved this country. Most of these people, you see, they said, Yoruba says, most of these PDP, they are riggers.
It's all right. I think you made your point very clear. Shego, before you start saying certain things that I don't want, that we do not want you to say on this platform. Let's talk about voter education, because your party seemed to have done a nationwide campaign. Yes. You know, at the state here, yes. Unfortunately, there was some stampede and some deaths in some parts of the country. We're hoping that you will work on that in subsequent election.
That's right.
But then, how well do voters know what to do? For instance, INEC says its ballot paper will be rolled, and then there's a way you must vote and ensure that it does not turn into a void vote. How well would you say political parties are doing in this regard?
Well, I would say the political parties, they didn't do enough. That's the truth must be told.
Your party inclusive?
My party inclusive in terms of voters' education. It's not enough. Even me as a person, I'm a Yoruba man. I don't know what is called a Kailabe until the vice president came to the Southwest to say this is a Kailabe. I don't know what the Kai is called a Kailabe. So the vice president has done marvelously well in this regard, because everywhere he goes, he will tell you, use your Kailabe. And I think I give that credit to him. So in that regard, the campaign has been very, very thorough, particularly with the vice president in all the federation, all the places I've visited. So the education, although it's not enough, because not everybody is aware of most of these things.
And just to clarify that, it's not really as if the thumb would not give you the right vote. The reason why,
if you can carefully do it,
if you can carefully do it within the box of the party you're voting for, because the moment your finger crosses the line, your vote becomes void. Yes. All right, so it's interesting how all of these are going to play out. One very important issue that INEC seem to have been fighting in recent election is vote buying. So we have seen INEC say, oh, we'll restructure the ballot box. Oh, you must not enter the booth with your phone, and we're also going to prosecute. But how effective would that be in this age of electronic transfer? Because we have heard that politicians have been going around collecting PVCs, voters' identification number, transferring money to them.
It is left to the people And I think for the first time, like I said earlier on, Nigerians are fully mobilized. For the first time, we see the Nigerian grassroots, everybody fully mobilized. But then they have to look at it, that they could afford, they have a choice to take 2,000 naira and mortgage their future
For the next 4 years.
for the next 4 years.
Some would tell you that all the parties are even culpable, so that there's no particular party that doesn't give out all
There
this.
is nobody that gives you money.
We
that
have
will
seen
not,
Gary package, we have seen rice, we have seen bread, you know, with party logos and all of that.
for how
But let me
long?
take this call very quickly from Ilori. Good morning, Abubakar. Abubakar, are you there? Hello?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your
Yes,
contribution.
yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, how are you doing?
Terrific. Please go ahead with your contribution.
But, yeah, this let me correct one impression with regards to one of your callers, one lady like that. She called, she was talking about Osun election, and that Osun election was rigged.
You will have to just go ahead and not listen to the feedback from your TV.
I don't know whether she was on ground or she was an eyewitness to what happened
She wasn't
in
on
Osun
ground.
then. Because me, I was an eyewitness. I was there.
I think
I know the election went on very well and
That's
it
right.
was
Yeah,
free
made his
and
point.
fair. In fact, I was one of the political observers, election observer rather, and they have gone around so many polling booths. And we know that the election was quite free.
All right. I think you made your point very clearly, Abubakar. Thank you very much for your contribution. You want to quickly say something?
Yes, you were talking about the...
The ballot paper as regards to
You see,
voter
the
registration.
problem, that's why sometimes I'm worried with the way an average Nigerian reason. I'm worried. When they say APC wanted to rig APC, they have forgotten that APC did a direct primaries during our primary in an attempt to get our presidential candidate.
Which was widely flawed by many allegations. The fallout of it we have in Imo.
Allegations
and
are
Ogun
bound
State.
to come up like that. But you must realize that we are not moved about this election because either we like it or not, President Muhammad Buhari has got about 40 million votes down already.
Let's wait and see on Saturday. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. I must appreciate you. Kule Udufua, he's journalist and public affairs analyst. Some people think you're a member of the APC.
They are free, everybody is free to make whatever.
that
But
comment.
when you criticize, give your own version.
That's right. Otumba Tunji Omoriga, Deputy National Coordinator, South Buhari Campaign Organization. Thank you for making it to the program this morning. We're counting down to Saturday. I'm looking forward to you making the right choice and contributing your quota to the establishment of democracy in Nigeria. That's our show today. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you.